What do you mean you've never seen him? You've never seen Jeff Beck? Do you know anything about Jeff Beck? I know he's good. He's done stuff. No, I've never really listened to him. Many thanks to my friends at Sam Ash Direct. I have a brand new guitar for you, but this one's special. It represents one of the greatest guitarists of all time, but also one of the most underappreciated wizards to ever play the sixth string. The brand new Epiphone, inspired by the Gibson custom line, Jeff Beck 1954 Oxblood Les Paul. You have the light gloss finish, you can see my fingerprints on here, with this 1954 wraparound tailpiece, gold speed knobs, just like Jeff Beck's original, two uncovered Gibson custom buckers. If you look at this pickguard, there's a little space between this and the pickup itself, and that's exactly like the original Jeff Beck guitar. You have 22 medium jumbo frets on a bound rosewood fretboard, real mother of pearl inlay, which seems to be the thing they're doing with these Epiphone inspired by Gibson custom, and of course the open book headstock on an Epiphone, which some love, some may hate, but from behind, you may not know it's not a Gibson. It's an Epiphone. First thing I will say about this guitar, it is the epitome of baseball bat necks. Funny part is that Jeff Beck's guitar didn't actually have a thick neck, and we're gonna get into that. Let's talk about Jeff Beck. He's in virtually every guitar magazine. I know what he looks like. I've seen him play, but do you really know a lot about Jeff Beck? Jeff Beck, as far as I'm concerned, is the greatest guitarist that ever lived that never really got his due. When he came onto the scene, there was only two other guitarists that were competing with him, even in the slightest. A guy named Eric Clapton, a guy named Jimmy Page. They were the holy three of the London scene. Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton. Jeff Beck has 15 solo albums. He's won 8 Grammys. He's played with Mick Jagger. He's played with Tina Turner. He's played with Rod Stewart. He's played with Bon Jovi. There was a point where both Pink Floyd and the Rolling Stones wanted Jeff Beck. Did I mention he played with Santana, Ozzy Osbourne? The list is ridiculous. If you love Spinal Tap, like I do, even the character Nigel Tufnell, his whole look based on Jeff Beck. In 1962, he released his first recorded single, Dracula's Daughter by Scream Lord Sutch and the Savages. Spawned people like John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, Ritchie Blackmore and John Lord from Deep Purple, Ian Hunter. Oh, by the way, I forgot Noel Redding. Then, at the recommendation of his buddy Jimmy Page, he became the lead guitarist of a band called the Yardbirds, which had previously featured a guy named Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, and Jeff Beck, all in the same band. The Yardbirds became the prototype for psychedelic music. He actually had recorded a sitar before the Beatles' Revolver, then replaced it with his guitar, giving his music a total Middle Eastern feel when nobody had done that in rock and roll. Heart full of soul, many attribute to being the first song ever to really feature a fuzz pedal. Just a month before Satisfaction and the Rolling Stones. Many attribute the first true rock and roll pick scratch to one Jeff Beck. Decided he wanted to do stuff on his own and got some of his friends to play together. A guy named Keith Moon on drums, one of the greatest drummers ever, Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, and then you got Nick Hopkins on piano. And they had a song called Beck's Bolero, a giant jam that featured backwards guitar, echo, out of phase guitar, things that we've taken for granted as guitar players now because we can just do it. When Jeff Beck put backwards guitar, Jimi Hendrix hadn't done it with Eddie Kramer yet. No one was doing it. Beck's Bolero was the B-side to Hi-Ho Silver Lining, which to this day is the highest charting single from Jeff Beck because he sings on it. After he left the Yardbirds, they got a guy named Robert Plant on vocals. They became the New Yardbirds, later to become Led Zeppelin. But it was never about playing fast. It was always this unbelievable ability to mimic the human voice or a violin or really almost any sound that he could get in his head, he could make come out of his guitar. He never had the success of an Eric Clapton or of a Jimmy Page. He always got the acclaim, but never quite the success. Did I mention he played with Stevie Wonder? That song Superstition, one of the greatest grooves of all time. Stevie Wonder wrote it for Jeff Beck, who played it with Beck, Bogert, and Appice. I covered that song with my friend David Abruzzese from Pearl Jam, and you can go check that out online. Superstition, David Abruzzese. Who did he get to cover? The amazing Jeff Beck. But one of the greatest blues guitarists of our time, Joanna Connor from Worcester, Massachusetts, where I was born. Go check it out. My favorite Jeff Beck song is called 'Cause We Ended as Lovers. Also by the great Stevie Wonder, but produced by a guy named Sir George Martin, the fifth Beatle, and he helped Beck realize his voice. Because if you listen, it sounds like singing, and no one else could do it even close to Jeff Beck. Nobody. The reason Jeff Beck played guitar in the first place was because when he was 8 years old, he heard a song called How High the Moon by one Les Paul, and Mary Ford went to his mother and said, "Mom, what is that I'm hearing on this radio?" "Well, Jeffy, that's a guitar. That's Les Paul." In 1972, Jeff Beck was in Memphis with his friend Buddy. I was about to say his buddy, but his friend Buddy Davis. And they're cruising around in his car looking for hot rod parts because Jeff Beck loved hot rods. And in Buddy's car is a guitar that he had just bought for strings and things. A customer had come in with a 1954 gold top Les Paul. "I want to refinish this in the color of my shoes. I don't like these P90s, they're a little thin sounding. Can you put some humbuckers in it? This big fat neck, it's gotta go. Can you sand it down?" They finished it in this Oxblood / leather shoe color, and they shaved down the neck. When the customer came back, took one look at it, didn't like it, and left it with strings and things. Buddy saw it, said, "I'll buy that." Put $300 down. Jeff was looking for that fat Les Paul sound because his Yardburst had some damage to it, so he needed another Les Paul. In come the 1954 Oxblood. They've given this a 1954-esque neck. They actually call it the Jeff Beck profile. This is definitely not a reference to the 1954 Oxblood Les Paul that sold for $1.3 million. It also has 50s wiring and Mallory capacitors. It's all Frankenstein in the original. On top of the fact that you have two uncovered custom buckers that are supposed to act as PAFs. The pickups that were actually in Jeff Beck's 1954 were patent number pickups. Not exactly the same. You have PAFs, which stands for patent applied for. Guess what? Gibson got the patent. So then they started putting the number, the patent number that was issued by the government, on the back of the pickups. So these custom buckers really represent the patent number pickups that are in Jeff's guitar. And this neck has nothing to do with it, nor does the mother of pearl inlays. I am not a fan of wraparound bridges. You can't really intonate them. You have these two pieces, you can kind of move it there, and hope. But when I played this, the intonation is dead balls on. I have to admit something to you. I didn't know jack shit about Jeff Beck myself, but I was at dinner with my friend Jonathan Weiner, the incredible mastering engineer that you could find teaching at Berklee School of Music. Has worked with people like David Bowie. And my friend Shota Nakama, who composed music for the Sonic the Hedgehog games, for Final Fantasy, a bunch of the Marvel Universe. Two guys way above my pay grade at dinner. And we're all talking. Hey, did you hear that Jeff Beck's coming around? Yeah, isn't he coming around with Johnny Depp? We should go see him. Oh, you guys want to go see Jeff Beck? I've never seen him. What do you mean you've never seen him? You've never seen Jeff Beck? Do you know anything about Jeff Beck? I know he's good. He's done stuff. No, I've never really listened to him. You've never listened to Jeff Beck, and you call yourself a guitarist. You have a guitar channel, and you don't know Jeff Beck. Not really. Well, as your friends, we have to go see Jeff Beck. Well, it turns out my buddy Steve represents Johnny Depp. And Johnny and Jeff were great friends. In fact, for Jeff Beck's last tour, he took Johnny Depp out with him when Johnny was going through his whole divorce thing. The first time he showed up in public was on stage with his boy Jeff Beck. Called up Steve, hey, Mr. Beck is coming to Boston. My friend Jonathan and I, we'd like tickets. Is that cool? Yes, Benny, no problem. When he walked on stage, it was just like watching Leonardo da Vinci paint. And every note was perfect. The way that he later in life started using his fingers. Screw the pick, can't get the weird sounds, gonna use just my fingers, and developed this even crazier technique than he already had to make these beautiful sounds directly from his heart. 5 songs into Beck's show, I look over at Jonathan with literally tears in my eyes. I am so sorry that I did not give this guy the time of day, but I am so happy that I am here right now getting properly schooled by Mr. Jeff Beck. I almost went my whole life while Jeff Beck was on this planet not going to see Jeff Beck. And after that show, I was humbled. I love this guitar. I'm not an Epiphone guy. You guys know that. I'm a Gibson guy. I'm not gonna pay the 15 grand, probably more, for one of the 50 Gibsons they release like this. Can't get it. Not for less than trading your kidney or some Bitcoin you forgot about. But you can buy this for $12.99 from Sam Ash Direct. My friends, this thing has won me over. There's no veneer. It's just an ugly brown. It's got a huge neck. Huge! Don't like huge necks. Love this neck. So I just want to say thanks. Thanks to Shota and John, me on the hand, for blowing off the genius of Jeff Beck while he was still here, while I still had a chance, and giving me a reason to tell you guys, go check out the greatest guitarist you probably haven't listened to, and if you have, go back and listen to him more. Take notes and understand why Jeff Beck was the greatest. Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?